say it to his face on the show here.
Yeah.
And either, I mean, what's the problem? I mean, you can't be flip flopping. This is just how it's going to be. So,
Okay, there. Okay, I'm
Who's
live now.
SM?
Finally.
all right. So it's the Dr. Brown drama spectacular.
That's
Drama
right
lovers
there.
here.
Absolutely there. And of course, we're talking about the situation with Keith and his past there. And as you know, a lot of people have been coming down hard on us. We're having Keith as our co-host for the music show. One of them, of course, um, what's his face here from Minnesota, and of course another idiot out of Canada there. But let me put it this way. Keith, I think he realizes what
We don't mention Scott on the show. You
I
just
know.
mentioned him. No one mentioned him
But we
besides
never.
Brown. So
But we
Scott,
never.
that was on Brown. I wasn't planning on mentioning Scott
Well,
myself,
I
but
never
Brown,
mentioned
that's
his
on
name
you,
there.
bro. That's on you. That's on you. So,
Oh, what's he gonna do?
gonna fucking slice your fucking neck, dude. The fuck?
Not if I slice his first.
Oh.
He ain't gonna do nothing. He can't even get past the border. They see what they'll take one look at him. It's like, oh, throw him, send him back.
Does he have an M16?
Yep.
He has a BB gun, so there you go.
No,
That was come on.
yeah, but he ain't gonna do
Go ahead,
squat.
bro.
Well, let me. Let's get back.
Situation.
Let's get to Keith. Now, first of all, let's address this. Yeah, we know Keith what he did. It wasn't cool. It wasn't right. But here's the thing. I'm gonna take a couple pages from what SC said last year. He's in a group home. He's surrounded by staff. When he goes out, he has a supervisor with him 24/7 when he does. And I mentioned to Bozy when you was live YR with, of course, Minnesota yelling in the background, blah, 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 that if Keith were to start talking with anybody that the supervisor may deem inappropriate, it's most likely that the supervisor will intervene and say, "Whoop, let's gotta go, Keith," blah, blah, blah. And basically, I know that Keith probably definitely learned his lesson from doing that. It just boggles me that he didn't know the rights and wrongs of what he did. Back then. But then again, I don't know if anybody ever told him what was the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do there. But who knows? Now, but you always got to keep in mind that we have people out there who will not let that shit go. Like if you do something back then from when you were 9 years old, they'll hold that against you for the rest.
Problem, bro? Why do you have to be all being like a tough guy and you like Keith one week? And what's the problem now? Did he do anything to you? Did he threaten your life?
What is he? Well, what is RP saying here?
I like RP and I like Keith. Like, why can't y'all just come on, man?
See, YR, even now, when I'm on the call now on video, all I see is Keith's eyes not blinking. Come on, man.
See, that's people's problems with Keith. You need to start wearing glasses, man.
Bro,
if you
listen,
be on the show.
that's actually what's crazy. Like, it's not even about his past. It's just his voice and me looking at his face not blinking. Like right now on video, I'm looking at his eye not blinking. Like, bro, it's creepy.
I just blinked. Look. I'm blinking now.
When Keith smiles, it's precious. He has a beautiful smile.
Do the
Keith
smile
has a
again.
very
Let's see
nice
the smile.
Yay.
Keith has a nice smile. It's the not blinking for me. That's it. I'm not gonna judge the guy. Like, who am I to judge him? I don't really know him like that, Keith. Like, it's the not blinking. That's it. And his voice. Sometimes, like, his voice kind of irks me. But I'm Jacob RP.
Okay, so Joe Cronin has Bullfrog. Ken has Tommy. And YR has Keith.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Well, Joe hasn't had Bullfrog on in a while.
We're giving the lower expectation type people a chance.
YR, I'm sorry, but there's a difference because, all right, well, we don't know for sure about Tommy and Bullfrog's past. By all we know, they could be fucking predators. We don't know. But I think it's easy to judge Keith based on his looks and his history. So it's easy to judge the guy, you know?
Keith, we can do the long neck again.
When you Google Bullfrog,
neck looking ass boy, look at this guy.
I'm pretty sure if you Google Jeremiah, whatever his name is, and then if you Google Tommy, whatever, a criminal report doesn't pop up. When you Google Keith, his shit pops up. You know,
That's true. There, you got to keep that in
there's
mind.
especially because listen, I'm gonna respect it because he's your friend and you're obviously consistent about being friends with Keith. So I'm gonna respect that. I'm not gonna bash Keith all the way. I'm not gonna judge Keith
Thank you.
like
Thank
his
you.
past too much because we all have a past and we've all done stuff, but obviously not to his level. It's easy to judge because the word predator and pedophile, those words are very strong. And once that shit's attached to you, it's really hard to get
And you
off
really
it.
can't look. You can't.
It's
You
really
can.
hard to
You
get
can
that
look.
stench of those two
You're
words
right.
off of you.
But you
Once
can look
somebody
at the.
accuses
You can
you,
look at
wait,
his
wait, hold
paperwork.
on.
Oh my
Once
God, dude.
somebody accuses you of stuff like that with under minors, it's hard to rub that off. Huh?
Yeah,
Rub that off.
Yeah,
that
but
is
you have
true.
to. Every case and every story is different, and when you explain, hey, yeah, on paper it looks bad, but when you hear the story that he didn't touch physically anyone, he didn't talk to anyone.
For all we know, I mean, what
There's
if
no reason
there's
for Keith to lie about it now. It's all out there.
bro?
So the real
Keith
story's
has
out
told
there.
us stories about being friends with 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds. How do you know he hasn't done worse behind the
Okay, so
scenes? We don't
no,
know.
I haven't done worse, but Asperger's syndrome, like it's hard to talk to people your age, so you talk to people younger or older. I don't know why that is.
I'm not gonna lie though. I'll take Keith over Sean's View any day.
But
I'll take Keith over Sean's View any fucking day. Sean's View's a Momo. He's a fucking egghead.
Oh boy.
I'll
Yeah.
take
I'm
Dr.
gonna
Earl
give you
over
the
anyone,
truth.
over
There's no
anyone,
excuse. I'm
over
the
fucking
caboose.
anyone.
I'm raised the roof off the caboose. No excuse.
Does my voice sound deeper right now?
Yes.
Nah, it still sounds the same to me there. But RP does have a point. People are not willing to let that shit go. Like for instance, like let me give you an example. You heard of Hey Jacob? Have you heard of Ike Turner by chance?
Yeah.
Yeah, we know who he was. He was the ex-husband of Tina Turner, and it was no secret that in her book she revealed that Ike used to beat the living snot out of her. When that news came out, and this was back in the 80s, ever since that, his reputation has been like down. He wasn't able to get any gigs. He wasn't able to get himself over the top. I mean, he was an outcast for what he did. I mean, like, and they look at Gary Glitter, the '70s and glam rock star. He's in jail right now for
Well,
molestations
oh my God.
from back from the '70s, '80s, and '90s, and so on. He's serving time right now in the middle of a 15-year sentence. When he gets out, he's not going to be remembered for his songs like I know I loved you when I saw you rock and roll. No, they're going to remember what he did to those girls. The same thing with Bill Cosby. His
Another good
reputation
example
is
would be like
gone.
Michael. Another good example would be Michael Jackson because
Yeah,
as great as MJ was,
yeah.
Mm.
no one will ever stop with the jokes of him and kids. Those
Yeah,
jokes will forever
exactly.
live on.
That's been going on since 1993 when that whole scenario was played out. People like
RP, do
it
you
just
think
couldn't stop.
RP? Do you think he's really Carl Malone? Really, expected Carl Malone, but
And just so
Carl.
you know, yes, that's a good point, Inspector Todd. And just so you know, recently, Karl Malone has been getting dragged on Twitter because the new generation will not forget the fact that Karl Malone impregnated a 13-year-old at what? How old was he? 19. He was
Really?
in college. 19, 20. I forget the age Karl Malone was. Allegedly, he impregnated a 13-year-old, which, for number one, that's gross. 13
Yeah,
year olds are babies. Like, no matter what age you are, that's a baby. And, like, people are dragging Karl Malone on Twitter. And why do you think the NBA never really mentions Karl Malone ever?
yeah,
Even in, like, top 5 list of all time, Stephen A. Smith, ESPN, they barely ever
Bro, he
mention
was in
Karl
my
Malone.
top 10, asshole. Remember?
yeah. I gotta
And
throw
Karl
that.
Malone, like, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, he was a good player. It's
I'm
just that
saying. No,
stench
man.
of that word, predator or pedophile or underage, that shit never rubs off. Look at
Yeah,
Michael Jackson. Look at fucking Bill Cosby now. Well,
yeah,
actually, Bill Cosby was different, but
yeah.
still, Minors, the
we
whole thing with minors, I'm sorry to interrupt. The whole thing with minors is very hard to get off of you. Go ahead.
Yo, I
can
gotta
we
say something.
real quick? Can we clear some things up with RP because people do say that
Well,
you go after moms with kids. I mean, I've heard that a couple times.
can I add to this conversation
Well,
first? We
Go
also
ahead,
got
Dr.
to
Earl.
we got to bring this guy up. Roman Polanski, the film director. In 1976, he was arrested and convicted, of molesting, getting down with a 13-year-old girl who he was
wow.
photographing. Now, on the day that he was supposed to be sentenced, he fled the country. He now still resides in Paris, France. He said he expressed it years back that like coming back to the U.S., but those charges are still on there, and most likely he would be arrested and sent to prison for what he did. That stuff never goes away with you. I mean, people could remember that and that only. When it was revealed that you did what Karl Malone or Roman Polanski or Michael Jackson, they're not going to let that go. They're going to remember for that and that only, regardless of if you had a good movie career or a
Right.
music career.
Well,
Other that,
Keith, close out the talk here. We're going to dive into people like Tony. We're
Yo,
going to dive into Joe Cronin, Mouth Kin talk.
Wait, before we go
Uh,
on, let me say something to Keith. Keith, I'm very sorry that you have to go through this. This is
thank you.
I'm pretty sure it kind of bothers you. I don't know what you think about it. I know a lot of people have their opinions about you. I'm sorry you have to go through that because you know what? After all these years, yeah, I kind of understand why YR has a little bit of love for you. Like, it's easy
yeah.
to like have fun with you because we've had fun on calls, right, Keith?
Right.
You know, you're not a bad person. It's just that you live in the world where people don't forget that whole
Or
thing
forgive,
about minors.
Yeah,
or forgive.
I
Listen,
gotta say
listen,
something.
it happens to the best of them. Michael Jackson, one of the greatest artists of all time. That shit will never be erased from him. Even if it wasn't true. Even if he didn't touch those kids. Just being associated with the word minors will never, it's hard to get off of you. So I hope this shit doesn't make you feel bad. And it doesn't break your heart like, because a lot of people be throwing jokes your way. But like, I
Yeah,
don't want you to feel like you're not part of this or you're not good enough to be here because you're part of this. You're part of the Wire program, you know?
Yeah,
yeah,
you're part of my music show as well. There.
But
yeah,
listen, Keith,
yeah,
just so you know, a lot of us have our opinions and you know, like that whole thing with minors is not okay. I mean, I understand you have mental disabilities or whatever. I'm not coming at you for that, but I just want you to understand both sides of the spectrum. Like,
Yeah.
I got it.
And one thing
Someone
I
in
want to
Tony's chat. Okay, go ahead,
The
Doctor
one
Earl.
thing I want to know is, and we mentioned this on the drama show we had at last Christmas, I'm surprised that your mom didn't let you know what to do, what not to do when it comes to girls there. But then again,
and
she
Oh
there is
probably
yeah,
didn't
nothing
know.
wrong. There is nothing wrong with being with single moms. Nothing wrong with that.
That's true.
well,
I was
people say
involved.
you
I was.
target them to get close to their kids. Is that true,
That's
RP?
Dave saying that I target moms with kids. Why the fuck would I target that? I don't want single mothers. That's just annoying. I just happen to meet people who later tell me, "Oh, I have kids." You can't. It's hard to avoid that. At least I'm with fucking single mothers or females. A lot of you don't have that skill, Dave.
No. Now,
A lot of
yo,
people in this
I
community don't
have
even know what
dated.
sex is.
I have dated a couple of moms who were single up there. Back around 95, I was involved with one who now resides in Texas, so from Michigan. She was a newborn single mom there. We dated for about a month and a half there. The last girlfriend I had, she had already had kids with a couple of other dudes up there, And but I guess the problem with dating single moms is that from the guy's perspective, they just feel that these moms are just looking for a husband to help take care of their
No,
kids, which are not
listen,
there.
no, Dr. Earl, you know who really has problems with other people dating single moms? You want to know who?
Who?
Guys who don't have sex. They
Mm.
have problems with that. Those are the
Ah.
only people who complain. You think guys who have sex in the regular or often, they're going to complain about single moms? Never.
No. Nope.
Why are? You know what I really want to ask Dave, and I might get fucking heat for it. I want to ask Dave, and listen, I'm not obsessed with his love life or any of that. I want to know if Dave has had sex in the past 2 3 years.
Mm.
I want to know the answer to that because I'm pretty sure we all know the answer is no. So I'm okay with how Dave comes at me sometimes because I know where it stems from, the anger of no release. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. I really
Um,
want to ask Dave and get a real answer. Have you had sex with a female in the past 2 years? And put aside, paying for sex. I want to know if he's had natural sex with a girl who actually wants to give him pussy. No, he hasn't. So he can make fun of my eyebrows. He can make fun of me going after single moms or whatever, or this or that. I still get the mom. I still get the female to give me consensual sex, unlike Dave.
Same here.
Even
You know,
fucking
we,
Dr.
we
Earl
should.
gets pussy.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? We should probably get Dave on the call while we're at it there, if he is available.
I
Yeah,
gotta say
maybe.
something. Someone in Tony's chat, I forgot who, wrote, uh, Keith, Keith, as much of a fan of Tony Keith was on that call, Keith's past will haunt him, will still haunt him. But my past only haunts me in this community. My past doesn't haunt me in real life.
Yeah, because people hide their demons.
Yeah,
Here, there is no hiding your demons.
it's all
People
out.
expose you. Not you,
Yeah,
Keith, but in general. In this
Okay.
community or on the internet in general, people will look you up. People will track you down. They'll ask for the papers. They'll ask for all your information. Like, it's the internet. In real life, yeah, no one's going to walk around saying, oh, well, I'm a predator. They're not going to have a sign on their forehead that says, oh, I did this and I did that and I did this. On the internet, there is no hiding shit, especially when you use your real name on usernames.
Yeah.
Keith, they'll come and pee on you too.
No. No.
I need to know the answer to Dave, to my question for Dave. Has he had sex in the past 2 3 years? I
I'm
don't think
gonna
so.
message him to see if he wants to come on the air there.
I need to know the answer, and it doesn't count if you pay for it.
I need to
'Cause
pay for some pussy.
Most likely, should be teaching you how to fuck.
Yeah.
you can't take that away from Keith. Keith has made me laugh in the past 2 years. He has made me laugh.
I know a lot of
Thank
times
you.
when he's out and about during a music show, it's always interesting to hear with all the people in the background or whichever venue that he's in.
Yep.
So RP, how is anything new on your dating scene, on the dating front of RP? Any new girls? Any new sex? When's the last time you had sex?
um,
Since you want to know Dave's stuff.
I haven't had any sex or a girl
What?
since like I want to say maybe 2 months.
Oh my
Um,
God.
Wow.
yeah, I'll be honest. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I've been busy. I started a new job and I've been going through things too. Mentally, I had my month of like I want to be alone or this or that or going through shit or whatever. It's just that you got to get yourself right before you go out into the dating scene. You got to work on yourself. Get a job,
I
save
gotta
up
pee.
because it's expensive out here. A fucking basket of eggs costs fucking $10 now. Like everything's expensive, and I feed myself, or especially obviously I have family that help me, but for the most part, I pay for most of my stuff. And shit ain't free. So, and yo, today breaking news: Bank of America got hacked allegedly. People lost
Wow.
their money. People lost a lot of money in their accounts today, allegedly.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's
fucking Bank of
crazy.
America and Zelle. Zelle got hacked too, allegedly. It was on the
Oh
news. It
snap.
was actually on the news.
Yeah. I haven't watched TV since like 2016.
Really?
Yeah.
That was a good year, man. 2016. Ah, man, that was a good year. The community was on fire in the good way. The NBA was on fire. Fucking Kobe was still playing. The Cavaliers were hot. The Warriors were hot. Man, what a good year that was. Music was great.
Now,
right?
Let's throw out a couple names and we'll give our opinions about them.
Okay, cool.
This first guy is controversial, but I think he has a soft spot in everyone's heart. He's hot on the scene, streams every day, have no issues with him, and that's Tony from Revere. Um, he would, if there was an award, he would be Rookie of the Year.
For real.
Now we're gonna start off with Keith. Keith, what is your opinions about Tony from Revere?
I think Tony from Revere is the most entertaining person in this community. He's the person I watch the most in this community. I actually do watch him like 50% less now that I've been banned in his chat. But he's still the person I watch the most in this community. I only watch two people. Wire doesn't count because I'm on his show, but I only watch two people in this community, and that's Tony from Revere and Devious Dave Rose. And that's it.
All right. I just want to say that like 75 to 85% of Tony's fans are mentally disabled people. I'm sorry, Keith.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Keith. It's just
no.
It's
They
true,
seem
though.
pretty smart because every time I come in the chat with a new screen name, they know it's me within like 10, 15 minutes.
That's not being smart. That's just being able to pick out who Keith is in the chat, or being able to pick out when it's Scott in the chat. That's not being smart. It's just knowing how to pick them out. You and Scott both leave trails behind in your new accounts that you be having. Like it's easy to point out when it's Scott or when it's Dave or when it's you or whatever.
Oh, true.
I honestly don't feel the same. I feel like Tony has forced himself into this whole community.
But it's his own community, bro.
I feel like Tony forces himself into situations, into the middle of things with Joe and Ken, and he forces himself onto shows, forces his music, his voice onto shit, onto people, and I hate it. I completely fucking hate it. I don't hate him, because that's a strong word, and he's made me laugh a couple times, so I gotta give him that.
Right, you're in his chat praising him every other week, right?
I feel like he definitely forces himself too much into everything.
Right. We do praise him in his chat every week.
I do, sometimes.
Dr. Brown.
Yeah.
What is your opinion about Tony? Would you...
I have never really, other than the times he's been on the programs like these, or that time he was on my end of the this one drama show, which of course Vikings and called to condemn him and called him the N-word there. I have never really had any real interaction with Tony. I have yet to even call on his shows. He has yet to even... Well, he was a participant a couple times on our music show there, but I never really did a one-on-one with the guy. I had never really hung out with the guy, let alone had a beer with the dude. So it's hard to... I'm sure Tony... We all know Tony has done his share of bad shit as well, with the supposed doxing and everything else that happened with Ken and other people as well there.
We need to stop. We need to just... Stop saying, stop using the word doxing, and just start saying revealing or using information after you get butthurt. It should be the new thing. Let's not use doxing, but let's so overall he does grow on people, and eventually Tony will be number one in this community over Joe Cronin. But speaking of that, let's give our opinion about Joe Cronin. Keith, go ahead.
I agree with everything Tony from Revere says about Joe Cronin. That he's fake, he's see-through, he's annoying, he's protecting Scott. Maybe not right now, but he was protecting Scott for like 5 years or whatever. I can't stand listening to Joe Cronin. I'm annoyed by his voice now. And I think he's the fakest person in this community. He's a scam artist. He's a con artist. I never want anyone to get Joe Cronin on their shows ever again.
Well, come on. My opinion about Joe, our history was rocky, but not as rocky as he's had history with people now. Um, but I've always appreciated Joe. Can't forget our roots, Joe and Ken. But Joe did great this. I mean, look, I was looking. I think I was listening to like X-Pac interviews, and Joe Cronin's show popped up, and I started watching it, and I think he did a interview with Conan or something. But
Cody
yeah, I
Rhodes, he
mean,
did one time there, yeah.
I did. I saw. I got him growing. You know what I'm saying? And found this whole community that likes wrestling, bro. Obviously, Ken came in the mix, blah blah blah. But when Cronin got it, he battered good. A lot of us met through Cronin.
Right.
Yeah,
And we have to respect. We have to respect Joe. Like you gotta, I
yeah,
respect
that's
Joe.
true there.
Maybe you know, we've all done scumbag things. No one's perfect in this community. I mean, there's a few people that are perfect. A few people like Jacob RP's never gone down those roads, right?
Yeah.
People like
I'm
CM
far from perfect, to be
Casino.
honest.
I mean, you, of course, but you haven't gone down those. You haven't, got pissed off and gone search for someone's private info to put on the
Never would
show.
I
You
ever
know what I'm
do that.
saying?
That's going low, man. No.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a few. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't do that, but point is that Joe Cronin is against that highly. I've never seen Joe really. I mean, he has shouted out like Tony's area or whatever. I've had heard that. Yes, Tony is right about that. So, but overall, Joe Cronin saved all of our lives. And if there was no Joe Cronin, we wouldn't be in this community. We wouldn't go out of way to buy mics and computers and mixers and general radio host and have a passion for people like Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Jacob RP, your opinion on Joe Cronin?
RP?
RP? I
Is he still here?
think he's taking a shit.
Okay. All right, there. So I guess I messaged Dave to see if he's willing to come on the show here and address what Tony. I mean, excuse me, excuse me, what RP has said there. He's on. Yeah, RP is on mute, by the way. There. So shall I give my opinion?
Yeah, so
Okay. Well, first and foremost, let me state, I don't hate Joe Cronin. I mean, I'm done with hating. I remember I was kind of pissed off, and then when he put out that thing on Twitter, with all the clips of me saying, maybe I should do this to this person, maybe I should do that to that person, in those earlier vlogs a couple years back. And that was in pertain to me and Ballsy saying, stop doing suicide jokes, like he often did at the time. I don't know if he still does it there. And let me address this. The reason I had an issue with those suicide jokes is because four people that were dear to me committed suicide. Two buddies of mine, Dirk and Izzy, my girlfriend, and my uncle. They all took themselves out. So, and that hurt me really deeply. And that's why I have an issue with anything regarding suicide. If someone was to come on the air and say, maybe I should put a bullet on my head, I would step up and say, no, you fucking will not. And I guess, Joe realized that, and I guess he took the clips of me saying I should put a bullet, maybe I should go after this person, maybe I should do that. I mean, I said a lot of heinous shit to some people back in Michigan who did me wrong in the past. But then again, it was that kind of attitude that led me being let go from my golf club job back in early 2020, prior to the pandemic striking us from behind. So, and since that, I've learned to be a lot more calmer, a lot more reasonable. So, in a lot of ways, that video kind of helped me put me in my place and made me realize a few things there. But the problem, I know people have asked me how come I haven't called them on monetize this for the past 18 months or weeks. And the reason that is that the show is not what it used to be. I mean, the prime of that show was during when Ken, JB, Tommy, Troy, Leah, Dave, Drew, all those guys were on that show. That was the prime around 2017, 18, 19. Those are the best times ever for that program. Now, the guys that are on there, and I got to be honest, if you're listening, Joe, I don't really know these cats other than Garguts or Dave Rose or Jesse J. But it's just like not what it used to be. It's like a club that you loved going to as an early teenager that has switched music formats. Instead of playing, the good club stuff there, they started changing a lot more top 40, and it's like, what the hell is going on here? And that, what to me was a turn off, so I stopped listening to that show. Now, I have been asked a couple of times, like people like Jersey City Boys, are you going to be on Monetize This, anytime soon? Which I'm sorry, and I won't be able to because it's just not the thing no more. And I've heard people say that that show is slowly going down, because of all the people that have left that program. You know, the only thing I have to say is, a lot of times, Joe has often used things whatever the way he can, to get donations here and there. But then again, he's got a family to feed. I guess I understand he has a daytime job to go along with it there, but still, owning a house is expensive, believe it or not. Let alone pay rent on it. So I can see why he often says the crazy shit. He says, "All my kids keep breaking my TV. I need a new one so I can watch Monday Night Raw." The only thing I would keep saying is that he's been saying that the WWE sucks butthole for past how many years now, but yeah, he still continues to watch him. Well, of course, he needs to make money to do reviews on it, but why put yourself through all that torture just to make money? You could probably watch Impact Wrestling or Ring of Honor Wrestling, give reviews on that program, or AEW. I know he does AEW at the times there, but I'm sorry, WWE blows. My faith in that company went long time ago there. But, all I can say is, if Joe wants to get himself back on the going there, definitely, I'm not going to say, make amends with JB or Ken and that, but at least, invite us on a Friday night. We could probably help stir up some shit or pots, throw some pans in the air, and probably get that show back on its from its knees. That's all I can say.
And is RP still here with us?
No, I
No,
think
he just left.
yeah, he
He
left
left.
there. Yeah.
The prom RP? Or
You know.
begs me to do shows every day.
Oh, here we are. But then again, he probably got called in to do something there, I guess. We do not know. Steve Knuckle Chunks in my chat saying, "Shame on you, Brown." For what? For
He said,
express-
"One date, your buds, and next talking trash."
Who? Me and who and Joe?
I guess so. I don't know.
No, I'm not talking trash. To me, talking trash is when you say Joe Cronin is a piece of shit. Joe Cronin is that. I've never called anybody a piece of shit. I'm just giving my take on why I
Let's go
don't
ahead and
watch.
add Joe to the call. Someone.
What?
Can one of y'all add Joe Cronin to the call?
Let's see if I can find him there.
Danny Deadly.
Danny Deadly. Yep. I'm surprised he's still using that name there. Or I can add him by Joe Cronin show. I know I have that there. Let me see here. Give me a couple of minutes here. All right. Okay. Okay. He's probably I think he's probably doing his AEW review right now. Oh no, he's probably still watching AEW. I forgot it's I'm back in the Eastern time zone there. Let's see if I can add him onto the call there. Give it a couple minutes here. You know, and couple of minutes. Now, as far as like I said, now as far as
Yo,
Tony, what, and
Joe
he's
Cronin, he's the biggest
unavailable,
deflection.
and
He's
he's
the biggest,
unavailable.
yeah. He's the biggest deflectionist in this
Mm.
community.
Oh,
Every
well,
time he talks, he's deflecting.
mm. Well, I know a lot of someone I know who had a lot of big opinions about Joe was, of course, Ken, as you know. He said
Yep.
a lot of things about Joe.
Well, Joe has said a lot of things about Ken, so Ken's
Yeah,
just
true.
responding.
Yeah, it's true there. Yeah. And I know the big thing, the big wish list a couple years back was Joe and Ken to get back together. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen there. Though they can be on the same call with you or me or anybody else, whether it's Tony, excuse me, Dave or Tony or whichever there. But it's I don't think they'll do any shows together anytime soon. There, they're both busy with their lives, their productive work, and everything else there. Their families as well. Mm.
I got no issues with you, Sean's view.
Sean's here. Sean, you want to call it? Please, Sean, join the call, dude. It's been a while since we have been on any of our shows here. We'd like to have you as a guest. And I know I have no issues with you, Sean. We'd like to be on the call, dude. In fact, if you wish, I can add you. I have you on Skype. I could definitely add you from there if it's okay. All right.
Yo, I thought what was the I thought what was funny was that uh the Jamaican rap came on Dave's radio station.
We felt like he was gonna say, "You fucking show off."
What the heck?
I was like, it's the same fucking time. Like he couldn't take a piss. God damn.
Bro, he's just playing the AEW audio on the stream.
Okay, there.
Huh.
All right, there. Let me see if I can add Sean's view to the call
What's
here.
your opinion about Garguts, guys?
I have yet to have any interaction with Gargots. So we think about it there.
I remember the first time I talked to Garguts. He was on. I was on with Scott and Garguts came on. Wait, was it?
AMT's a
Oh, yeah.
scumbag for being a friend with him too, because Garguts all he does is trying to rip off Joe, try to
There you go.
like build an audience from Joe's audience, and
Yeah, this was. Sorry.
he's a scumbag. Go ahead.
This was a long time ago. I was on a show with Scott McKinnon and Garguts was on. And I thought Garguts was entertaining, and I said, "Yo, you should be on Monetize This." 2 weeks later, he made his debut on Monetize This.
Yeah.
But like he was like all about weed back then. Now like he put down the weed and he started drinking.
Well, I thought, Nicky J is considered the weed god, so I guess he decided to let Nicky J have that title for now, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And Sean's view is unavailable. Sean, call it in the show, dude. We'll add you.
Sean, call in now.
Yes,
Right.
please. Please do. I know he's in your chat saying, yeah, call in. I would give a call. Go ahead.
I was actually a fan of Scott before the power trips. And then like by power trip number 3, I saw the light with Scott. I realized he wasn't good. Like starting like power trip number 3.
I don't even know what channel or name of any of Scott's channel anymore because he's had so damn many in the past. There, it's
Well-
hard to keep track.
Yeah, you're right.
And you know what? When you think about it,
Here's the thing. Well,
Go
we
ahead.
don't need to, come on.
All right.
What we really need to dive into is the tremendous and wonderful person of Devious Dave Rose. What's your opinion about Dave?
I love Devious Dave Rose. I think he's super entertaining. I think he fights for good, like good. He's like he fights against the evil people, and
It's like a hero.
yeah, he's the
A
hero.
Superman, yes.
Yep,
Truth, justice, and the American way.
he's the second most entertaining person in this community. Um,
So you like Tony and you like Dave. So when they go on shows
yes,
together,
yeah, it's awesome when they go on shows together. I love it. And then Ken coming on, that's like it's really awesome. And that's it.
All right, there.
y'all believe in zombies?
I have yet to
No,
even see one.
they have this shooting game at the arcade. You can shoot zombies, and they have that XD Dark Ride where you could also shoot zombies.
Hmm. Well, I know you. I know you're gonna ask me my opinion, Dave. Dave's a cool guy. He's a good person to have on the shows and talk with. I mean, there were a couple episodes where Dave is called with me and Ark discussing Doctor Who. Him calling in on music show discussing love ballads, which is asking you why are which is what is a love ballad.
Mm.
Interesting discussion there. You know, the only thing I will say is that all the power trips to trying to expose Scott. I understand Scott is a loony bin. He's a nitwit. He's a moron. Scott needs help. His family needs to step in and realize, hey, we got to get our guy here some help before he does something really fucking off the wall that's going to land him in jail for the rest of his life. All I can say is, and them sitting back and saying, we're done with him. We don't want nothing to do with him. That's not helping the issue. Scott has a mental illness, and it's getting out of control. And if Scott is still drinking, still doing drugs, then it's going to get worse. And for him to
Yeah,
dog Keith for being a part of our music show, let's keep in mind he talks to underage kids on that Omegle site there. I'm sorry. Of no true real adult would ever talk to 13-year-old kids unless they're related to them, or a teacher, or a supervisor, or any of that. Period.
right.
And now, especially nowadays, when you see a guy speaking to a 13-year-old child, boy or girl, the people are going to presume, oh, he's a pedo. They're going to assume that right away. People love to jump to conclusions.
Yeah,
That's
for
how they
real.
do it. Yeah,
He's never gonna go away.
yeah. He doesn't want to go away. Scott's one of those guys that just believe that the the
All right, this
world.
is the Scott McKinnon show.
I know.
Give our opinion about the well, what do y'all feel about the community nowadays? You feel like it's boring? You feel like
You know.
a lot of good people that left? You
I
feel
don't. I
like
don't.
it's same thing every day?
I don't think it's boring. I don't care about who leaves, who stays. I watch Tony from Veer and Devious Dave Rose, and that's good enough for me.
Hmm.
And like if Tony from Revere left YouTube, I'll listen to Devious Dave Rose. If Tony and Devious Dave Rose left YouTube, I'd find something else. It don't matter to me. I'm having fun in this community just watching Tony from Revere and Devious Dave Rose
Hmm.
and being on YR shows, and that's it. I don't care about anything else. I mean, I don't care about anything else about the community.
Well, I will say this. I know that there hasn't been that much drama, that much situations within the community currently. I kind of missed that when there was a whole bunch of shit going on there. I remember when all of us was, except for Keith, was on Nikki Nine's show that one Wednesday evening there, he did state, he titled that piece, "This Place is Stale." He did state that the community has been stale because there's no real drama, no real situation that's been going on there, and we kind of all missed that, I'll be honest with you. But, if we're going to. What was that?
Oh,
Oh,
it's
it's
RP.
RP.
Oh, okay,
He's
there you
back.
are, dude. Oh, you
Go
came
ahead.
I
back
think he was taking a shit. I think he had diarrhea.
right there. And there's that
Go ahead,
feedback
Doctor.
again. Damn. But at the same time, we can't let the community get to the point where it's, oh, you said something about me. I'm going to dox your workplace. I'm going to call your workplace and make threats against you. And if,
Dr. Earl, sorry to cut you off, but you know who really does that is Tony.
mm, yeah, I
You
heard
know how
about that
why
as
I say
well.
that? You know why I say that? So yesterday, Tony was having a conversation with Nikki Nines on a call, and out of nowhere, Tony brings up his daughter. Like, don't you
Mm,
have a daughter? Don't you have a wife? Like, he likes to get personal.
mm.
He likes to use the wife and kids thing with anyone who he argues with, and if he knows a little bit about his personal life, he'll use it against you.
Wow.
Like he was having a conversation with Nikki Nines, they were arguing a little bit, and then he mentions the daughter and the wife. Like, why do you have to go there? It's because he's too far gone in this community. He's been through too much trauma of uh, of uh, doxing and using personal family members and personal information and personal bad luck on people. He uses those things against you. Like that's his ammo against people because he knows we all see through his bullshit. He knows that we all think he's a cripple fucking fake fuck who uses everything against people. And I'm sorry to say the cripple part. That's not funny at all. That's not cool to say. But it's like
Apologize, please.
the guy has a lot of anger in him because people don't accept him. So he likes to use personal shit against people. And I
So
don't mean to
he's
say that cripple thing. I
vindictive.
take that back.
So he's got an anger issue towards everybody and not accepting them, and not because is it because of his disability or his lifestyle choice or whichever or what?
That's what I should have said, not cripple. I should have
Yeah,
said disability, not
yeah,
cripple.
I like that.
Sorry about that.
It's
But
okay.
yes, you're right, Dr. Earl. You're making a good point. Like right on, spot on, right there.
Tony does make a good point himself. He says since he is disabled, people really have no like. Why are you talking shit to a disabled guy? Like tough and stuff. Like, he has a good point with that.
Yeah, but then again, at the same time, when somebody calls up your workplace, and does the other shit like he did with Ken many months back there, you can't help but lash out at the guy because you're angry, you're frustrated for what they did. You're going to go after that SOB, regardless if he's disabled or not. You're going to lash out at that son of a bitch. How dare you do this to me? How dare you do that? And, I understand there's a lot of disabled. I know there's another person out there who's disabled. We all know that. But take it up the person or whatever left you disabled. Like Tony with the car wreck that he got in this car wreck, He should take up his anger with the guy who would have struck him, not with everybody in this community.
Nah, his anger is that he's not accepted anywhere he goes. He's forced himself into everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
The prison community, this community, other community, Sean's View community. If you can't make it there, you can't make it anywhere. I mean, come on. The Sean's View community, fuck out of here. Tony forces himself onto everything. He forces himself into calls. He forced himself to monetize this. When he first popped into monetize this, nobody accepted him. Even Joe was like, who is this? Why do you keep talking over everybody or whatever? Ever since day one, Tony's been just forceful on people.
So
I don't like that.
so he
I like when it's natural. I like when people accept you naturally or whatever. Like
and Tony wants to demand acceptance no matter what.
no,
Jacob Harper, do
see,
you think?
that's the problem.
Do you
He
think? You think
Tony should.
YR? You think YR helped you get accepted more? RP? by me having you? Because I've had you
No.
on the most, RP. Like you've been on Joe and Ken's a lot, Joe's a lot, but I've had you on the most, I think, and I give you more airtime.
Yeah.
So
No, because I still think that a lot of people, like 90% of this community to this day, still don't like me. So your job isn't done, YR. Your job is not done, YR. People still hate me.
Yeah.
Every chat I go to, oh, it's RP. Oh, RP. Oh my God, RP. Oh God, RP.
RP, I didn't like the other day when you said, I feel sorry for Scott, and I think we should stop doing.
Oh
We should
gosh.
Well,
stop bashing
see,
Scott.
like
Yeah, I want to ask about that, man.
I don't have the same hatred horse in the race that you guys have for Scott. Scott's never, and I'm not asking for it. I don't want this to happen to me. I've never been through the trials and tribulations of the whole Scott thing of being doxxed and threats and this and that. Yeah, he's threatened me before, but like I feel like people don't have a heart for Scott. Like people are too mean to him. Yes, he's the evil one. The he's evil to everyone. Yes, I completely understand the bullshit he's done, but like I still have a heart for people sometimes, and I have a heart for people with mental disabilities. And Scott has mental disabilities, bro. Whether he likes it or not, Scott is not all there normally in his mind.
We
And I feel
know.
bad for people like that. I do feel bad for him because he has everyone against him. There's a man called Dave Rose who says he's gonna put his obituary on a T-shirt. That's far. That's too
Ooh,
much.
wow. That's
And
whoa,
yes,
man.
I know Scott has made his bed, but can't we all see the guy has mental disabilities to the point that he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing? Like he keeps doing the same shit over and over. Bro, it's been 6 years of the same shit. And Scott hasn't won not one war against anyone. Everyone's beating him to the pulp. Everyone, bro, he was put into rehab because of this community. Well, also
a
because of
little
him
bit
too.
less Scott tint here. God knows it's on every other show, so we like to talk about others besides Scott
And
here.
yes, I
You
will
know
say
what I mean?
that there's a lot of content going around. A lot of people just yap about Scott all day. It's getting sickening.
Yeah. But keep in mind the reason why they yap about Scott is because they're outright angry and frustrated with the shit he keeps doing over and over
No,
and
you know
over.
what, Dr. Earl? I think by this point, people should know what to deal with Scott.
Yeah.
People should know what the guy is about. Like, why? I think Dave's using his content as a cheat. Like, Dave is cheating with content. It's easy to make content reviewing other people, just like Tony. That's cheating. That's too easy.
Yeah.
Of course, Tony's gonna have 900 subscribers by now. Like he has people reviewing. He reviews other communities. He reviews other people's content, and people like the drama. It also YR. Just so you know, having a drama channel is also very a cheap way to get like views and
Yeah, but I just
Get
subscribers.
like I
ad
just like
subscribers,
I
yeah.
I kind of like meme the drama now. Like I don't
Yeah.
really, it's part time. It's not
See,
really
you've
like
always been a parody of the drama, but like Tony just straight up just reviews everything and everybody. That's just cheap heat. That's cheap drama. That's cheap like views. And you're like the king of the drama of YR, so it's different with you. You're like an OG around here. Tony's not an OG around here. He's not. He hasn't had a lot of like moments where hilarious or whatever. You YR, you've had those moments where
Yeah, but
back in the day
Tony
you used
has
to
came a
call in
long
and fuck
way,
with
and he has
people and say nigga nigga nigga, or like he used
Tony
to call in as characters with wigs. That shit was hilarious.
Oh my gosh,
Tony
I
Tony
remember
has
that.
Tony has come a long way though. He has a good best setup in the community for real. You gotta give him that.
No, you know who really has the best setup?
Oh,
Filthy Mouth Gamer has the best setup.
Ah, yeah, he does, man. Yes.
I love his setup. Tony's like I don't know how to explain Tony's setup and
It's
background.
like I said it this before. His setup is like he's about to blow up Eldron.
Dr. Earl.
I remember when he had four monitors. He said, it looks like NASA up in here."
I know. I was gonna say it's like, damn, he's got a space station in his little bunker there.
Yeah.
but RP, do you feel like Ken and Joe will ever come back together? Or you think
No,
it's
never. No. You know why? because I think that's over with, especially because over the last year, no, that's over with. Ken's too into it. No, no, no. Hold on, hold on. Let me
Oh, we got a
hold on.
donation.
Ken,
Nice.
Ken is too. Ken's promised too much. And no, how do I say this?
Forty
I don't want to
dollar
speak
bomb
for.
from Junebug. Thank you, Junebug, for that one, brother.
Jumba, get on the call. We miss
Either
you, dude.
Ken has no respect for Joe. Now,
That's true. That is true. Plus, Joe's not the same anymore either. And Joe, Joe, you know how we kept saying for the past 2 years that he likes to ignore the drama and say, "Oh, I don't know what's going on. I don't watch
Right.
anyone."
yeah,
That shit
right,
hasn't changed not one bit. I thought that by now Joe would come out and say, "You know what? You guys are right. I do watch. I do." No, he still sticks to his lying ass shit. No, Joe's never gonna change.
To
And
play the
Ken,
victim.
he has too much respect for the people. Ken has too much respect for the people that he loves to go back to working with Joe. That's the thing too.
correct.
He has nobody else. He doesn't have Jake. He doesn't have
Now,
Drew.
Ken, if you're watching this, I'm sorry I was asked a question.
I'm going to.
Hello?
Hello.
I will only say this, and this will be the last thing I'll speak on Scott on Scunty there. It's time right now. I agree that the same thing has been repeated over and over and over and over with no end, and it's time. And I'll say it again. It's time that his family, friends finally get together, form a bond, come together, and say, Scott, you need to see a shrink ASAP. You need to go into a hospital, you know, soon as possible because this is gone and far enough and beyond infinity and beyond enough. And you know what? Just he needs to get some help. Yeah, I understand. He has a mental condition, but you can only take so much. Plain and simple.
Right. Jedi Knights is right. Ken puts his watchers before himself.
Yeah. And I will say that, that I do agree with Jacob there. Joe often does play the victim a lot of times there in the past.
Yeah, I think Ken could get on monetize this 400, and he could fake it and be make everyone laugh and be hilarious.
I don't think
But like the next day, it'll just go back to the no respect.
Ken cannot.
Hmm.
Ken's too.
I'm having a hard
RP, your
time.
mic
Yep.
is
Fading in and
a little
out.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
RP left.
Again. Oh wow.
Yeah, he's probably fixing his mic.
All right.
RP's back.
Ken
There
is
he
too
is.
real to fake it. I'm sorry. Ken is too real to fake it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I can't see Ken faking anything for anyone. Ken's too real for that, bro. I love Ken too much to even believe that.
okay, you're right.
But I see what you're saying, Keith. I'm not knocking
Yeah,
your opinion. It's just that Ken has been so real with us and entertaining us, and he's been so adamant on not working with Joe again and not being with the fake shit again. And plus, someone in the chat said that Ken puts his followers before him sometimes. Yeah,
Yes.
Ken's that type of dude to put the people he loves before himself. Like, he wouldn't turn his back on everybody by doing that. Plus, Ken wouldn't win by going back to Joe. Joe would win by that.
right. You're
Joe
right.
would win from all that.
Exactly, Extreme Shaft.
Yeah. I also got to say this.
Ken
This.
doesn't respect.
Extreme Chef, won't you come on the call? Because
Yeah. Go ahead, dude. Yeah.
I see Extreme Chef say this in the chat a lot, that Tony is worse than Scott, and I like for him to explain that
Yeah.
He's
Get on.
gonna
on
come on
here.
here and ask us what's harder to hit, a baseball or a soccer ball. God.
I will say this. Geez, now I forgot what I was about to say, but it is about regarding Joe. I don't hate Joe. I just wish the monetize this didn't take the direction that it did. you know, it was a basically back then it was if you're unable to go to any party, whether it's a broken leg or financial reasons or a car being out of gas, Joe would bring the party to you.
Yep.
And now the party has shifted gear, and it's sad, Don't hate you, Joe, but I'm just pointing out a fact.
I like what
And all now
Tony said.
I remember what I wanted to say. Yeah, another person was no associated with Joe is Tommy,
Right.
because because when you look at it, Joe is always doing content, putting Tommy on the spot, saying this about Tommy's TikTok video, saying this about his YouTube videos, pointing everything out that needs to be pointed out, whether it's hilarious, whether it's dangerous, or whether that. I mean, when you think about it, Tommy was Joe's big money maker. 500 to boot Tommy off the show for 10 weeks. Boot
Yeah,
off.
but
Let's.
you can't blame Joe for that, and you
Yeah.
can't say Tommy was his moneymaker because I'm pretty sure Joe was making more money off of wrestling and reviews off of more than the whole Tommy thing. It's just that Tommy, I don't really understand Tommy and the whole Joe thing because yeah, Tommy and Joe were first together before
Yeah.
Ken and Tommy. Like
Mhm.
Joe and Tommy were like very close to each other before, and like I don't know where it all changed, but like I do believe. Listen, I'm not. I don't think anyone's coaching Tommy into hating Joe, but I think it is possible that Tommy is listening to what he's hearing on the other side of the whole community about Joe, and he's believing it because he has mental disabilities, so he'll believe anything.
Autism,
It's
like I do.
easy. It's easy to coach someone like Tommy over time, and I'm not saying people are putting shit in his head, but I think you know Tommy is the type of person that if you say something over and over long enough, he'll
It'll
believe it.
seep into his head. Yes, exactly. But again, people with
So,
autism are the same way.
but
Once
if you
you,
get Tommy on the call with Joe for a couple weeks, he'll go back. He'll get back to the whole Joe and Tommy thing. It's just that right now he's on this side of the moon, so he's not just gonna say, "Oh, I love Joe." Plus, Joe can be mean sometimes, even if it's in a good way or in a bad way, and everyone takes it differently. Everyone takes certain jokes differently. Like I'm pretty sure Tommy has heard clips of Joe saying things about his dead relatives,
yeah,
or in a joking fashion. Like I'm pretty sure Tommy took that personally or whatever.
yeah, that's
I've
true
never
there.
heard Ken. I've never heard Ken say a joke about his dead relatives or his barber or Debe. Or actually, no, not Debe. I've heard Ken say jokes about Debe,
Yeah.
but I've never
Oh,
heard
that
Ken
was a
joke
big one.
about. I've never heard Ken joke about like anything like that. Like I
His
could be
father
wrong, but
Well, because Ken's Tommy's real friend and Joe isn't, and Joe just used Tommy for views.
and
maybe.
Correct.
donations.
But I think we should all know what we get into with Joe by now. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, by now. If back then, I don't think Tommy knew. But by now, we all know what it's like to work with Joe. Joe's gonna use you in some way or fashion. I'm not saying Joe's a user, but like he has a show to run, and like Joe's gonna use all his what's available to him to have a show. So like I don't think Joe's a bad guy, but like his intentions with the show and the show has to go on. Maybe like there's something there, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
I have been loving this past week or two where Tony is going after Joe really hard. I love it.
He has been. I mean, but there was a one thing where I mean, you may remember why I was at my other location in Texas, where I was working. You said, "Come home, Simon with us," and I joined in. There was a Scott, a couple other people there, and Joe joins in the call with Tony, and Tony did say, "I will continue to shit on you." And
Yeah, but
Tony's keeping that word.
Tony has way too much time on his hands. He's home every day.
Yeah.
He's on his computer every day. He watches Joe a lot, obviously. He's invested into the whole YouTube thing every fucking day because I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a job. He jokes about me not having a car, but at least I have a job and a life that I go out and
Yeah.
be active with. Yes, Tony does leave the house and does things, but Tony doesn't have a career. He's not a scientist. He's not a musician as much as he says he is. He likes to dox people. That's one thing we know. Even though people have doxed him before, hard in a hard way, but Tony does have some an evil side to him.
Well, here's my question. Well, we know Tony. You we know Tony plays keyboards. We all know that. Well, why doesn't Tony use some of that energy and compose music or make music sets? Let's say ever put them on
because
YouTube or SoundCloud or Twitch or whichever
because
there.
his music isn't good.
I've yet to even hear
He
any of his music,
I
believe it or
like
not.
I like his confidence. I love Tony's confidence. I love confident people. Tony shows that no matter what, his shit does not stink. That's how Tony thinks.
Mm.
But to all of us, to the real world, Tony's music is garbage. Garbage, the way he says it. Like the whole piano thing, that shit is like 10 years ago. And like the way he sings, his voice. If Tony was to go on like The View or like what's that show
American
where they
Idol,
judge your music? Uh
American Idol, or the X
yeah,
Factor.
that Tony would not pass. Tony would be like an amateur to them.
Mm.
That's why he's not like a professional at it. Like he's not famous for it. He's on YouTube with the rest of us.
And
Dave
on
too.
and
Yeah.
and on Twitch as
Dave
well. There, he
talks
did a
like
Twitch stream as well.
Dave talks like he could be a scientist or a lawyer, but no, he's here with the rest of us.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I want to hook him up with my dad. They can have some interesting conversation. I mean, not my dad, my brother-in-law. My bad, but those two can have a great conversation together.
Jedi Knight, I got a Jedi Knight. I have to disagree with you there, buddy. Nikki J is not the best at gaming. Fuck out of here. Nikki J has like 2 live viewers per show, every show for the past 3 years. And Nikki J is not exciting. His gaming is not exciting whatsoever. I'm gonna just keep it at that. Dave, yes, because Dave, the way he talks, his remarks, his racism, even if he's kidding about it, it's funny. And you know who is underrated? Yo, Jedi Knight, you have to hear this. Drew, the gatekeeper, is very underrated when it comes to gaming when he's
Mm.
drinking. When he's
Ah,
drinking, he's hilarious. Hilarious.
Whoa.
Big shout out to Drew, the gatekeeper, for trying something new and sticking with it. Big shout out to him.
yeah. It's been a while since we heard from Drew. He hasn't done. He doesn't need news shows. Nobody. He's just doing gaming streams there.
Because Drew is smart. He knows what he's doing. And I'm not saying nobody else is smart, but like, like he's just smart about it, And I'm not gonna lie, Drew, like created his fan base here because of this community and ran with it. I'm not saying he used or ran with it, but like, yes, he took his audience with him, and that's smart. Like, Drew is the best at gaming when he's drinking, bro. Oh my
Ah,
god.
is he funny as hell?
He's funny when he plays GTA. I haven't seen the rest of his gaming or whatever, but when he drinks and plays GTA, that guy's hilarious.
Oh wow.
Big shout out to Drew. Big credit to him, man. Big credit.
So,
Nice.
RP, what's your opinion about Joe Cronin? You think the flame is gone out with Joe, or you think he's gonna?
I still watch him out of respect and like out of habit. I still watch Joe. I still pop in and out when something happens. So when something big happens, I tune into him to see his his reaction still matters to me. I just think that the old Joe Cronin is just gone, and this new Daniel Cronin is what it is now. Like I feel like he's changed mentally. He's grown up because he is getting older. He's what, 36, 34, 38, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, hold on, I have to read.
And needed some Rogaine.
Um, I feel like Joe, I feel like his his reason for everything is his kids and his house, which is great, awesome. But when you're in this community, how do I say this, man? Because I don't know. I still watch Joe, but I do think he's kind of like pussified nowadays. I feel like he's
The
Tone
lost that
down.
PC.
edge. He's
Tone
lost the
down.
edge, definitely. He's more nicer. He's
He's
nicer.
watered down,
He
right, Key?
forgives you. He
Yeah.
forgives you faster. And I
Wait,
get it,
who?
man. I get it because life is short. He has kids. He has a
Pussy
house.
whipped.
He has a wife. Life is short. Life is fast. And I'm sorry to mention the kids and wife. I'm trying to make a point. Like his meaning for life is them. So like fucking around with people on the internet to get doxxed, I don't think that's his excitement anymore because he has kids and shit. And people are doxing him at his house. Like honestly, if I was him, I'd be the same way. I wouldn't be involving myself into community drama because a lot of you are crazy in this community. A lot of you doxers and people who like to use people's jobs and kids and real names against people, you guys are crazy. You think Joe wants to mess with that? No. You think Joe wants people to find where he lives so his kids have to go through that? No. That's why Joe isn't the same
Yeah.
anymore. Because the drama in the community got worse by year. It got worse and worse and worse. People are now more threatening than before. Joe doesn't want to put his precious life in jeopardy with all that. Like, and yes, it is a precious life to have a house and kids and a wife. That's the American dream, and he has it. He's not going to put it in jeopardy with all these fucking trolls with half a brains in this community who like to stalk people. I completely understand Joe now that I'm talking my hat off. Sorry.
It's okay.
Actually, Jedi Knight, that's a great way to put it too. Joe Cronin is like the WWE. Before it was the Attitude Era, now it's PG. Yeah, it is. It
That's true.
is.
You got a point
Joe
there.
has gone through his change. Where like, you know what? Eventually you have to change. Why did WWE change their product a lot? Because a lot of kids were being killed using their moves. A lot of kids watched their shit. And Vince
Backyard
got older.
wrestling.
Actually, here's another good point. Vince got older,
Yeah.
so he kind of grew out of that being mean and attitude era crap because he's older. He cares about his grandchildren. His grandchildren watch the product. And Joe has kids. His kids probably see him doing all this shit.
Not only
So,
that, but back then, during the Attitude Era, there was lot of a lot of content going on that was raising a lot of questions among parent groups and other groups out there. They were questioning the WWF because of all the content during the Attitude Era, and
yeah.
WWF later became a publicly traded company, which means all the shareholders they would pitch a loaf over some of the content, so they had to tone that down.
Yeah, so that's kind of like Joe too. I sometimes view Joe as like Vince McMahon in a way. Like yeah, he had an attitude era, but he dumbed it down because he has kids who are watching him,
Yeah,
and also he has people who are stalking him on the internet. And I don't think I want people looking me up and finding where I live when I have a kids and a wife. Like I completely understand Joe, and like I said, I hate it irks me to even have to bring that up, like his personal life, but it's true. Like with Vince, like I'm pretty sure he had to dumb it down because he has grandchildren, and a lot of his wrestlers were dying due to drugs, so he had to make it safer and more PG. Things
yeah,
have to change eventually, and plus the world isn't the same anymore either. The
yeah,
whole world has gone through the PG era now
yeah. And everybody's more PG than ever. More
because you have
PC.
to be the world. You have to adapt. What did Triple H say? You either adapt or you perish.
Yeah, and everything.
You know, like I completely understand why Joe and Vince changed the way they did. You know, man, like being evil is fun, but not forever. Like, I'm not saying like Vince and Joe are evil, but like being mean to people isn't fun forever. You know, like, and I feel like yeah, like being mean to people can't last forever. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
And
And a
it
lot of
gets you
people in
know.
this community are like experts at being mean to people, aka Dave, aka Tony. Like, you guys are mean to people. Yes, a lot of people deserve it, but like someone like me, Dave, I don't deserve how mean you are to me sometimes. And I'm not saying I'm a pussy and I can't take it. It's just Dave is very good at being mean to people. And YR, I kind of feel like YR outgrew the whole being mean to people thing too. Now I know sometimes I hear rumblings about YR being a troll behind the scenes and manipulating things. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. Because I have been in chats sometimes where there were like fake accounts rolling around and they kind of sound like YR when they talk. But like, I don't know what to believe sometimes. But when I see YR's good side, I kind of sense like YR kind of outgrew the whole trolling and doxing thing. I'm not saying YR ever doxed anyone, but you know,
I
like,
agree.
thank you, Keith.
We
When
all
people
Yeah,
cry for
we
8 months,
all
the community
evolve.
sucks. Then we come back and we do a couple shows from time to
You
time. You
know,
know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and
yeah,
YR, like, I don't mean
we
to
all
say like, oh,
evolve.
you're a troll or whatever, but like, sometimes it's hard to believe anything anymore, like in this community.
You know, another person that's also involved is the person talking right now. Back, I was pointing out, I was this angry SOB, lashing out at people back in my home state of Michigan for shit that was said and done to me. And like I said, it took me being fired from the golf club I was working at that time, make me realize I can't do that shit no more. I cannot be that person. I can't hold on to past grudges or past resentments because in the future that would make me sick minded. That would make me either mostly mentally sick, because I have to evolve from that person into the person I am now. I'm a lot more concerned about what's going on. I'm not concerned for this individual, that individual. When I heard that Mike Bobbitt died, I did a tribute video to him. I was like, I was very sad about that. You know, because we did, Bob, and have a couple conversations on a couple programs now and then back in the day there around 2018, 2017 there, blah, blah, blah. But you cannot hold on. You can't really be that same person as you was years ago. You cannot be that mean. You neither can't be that resentful because if you keep being that person, you're not going to gain anything. You know, there was a meme I saw and it said simply, "Don't look back. You're not heading there anyway." And we're all doing that.
yeah.
We learn from our
And
mistakes and we figure out, you know what? We pass on that information to everybody else. Say, "Here's what not to do in the future, kids."
I
For
will
real.
say though, this community was based off of being mean to each other for a
Yeah,
long time. Even if it was through jokes, even if it was I monetize this as a joking in a joking fashion,
drama
the
club.
jokes are still mean. Um, and I just feel like the world has outgrew the whole being mean to people thing because, like, I don't know, man. Like, also, I'm not saying we should all be fucking daisies and be super nice to each other, but like the threatening each other and using people's personal downfalls against them. Like, you know how many people joked about me not having a car? That shit hurt, bro. Because
Wow.
that shit kind of came into my like it affected my personal life in a real way. Like, I couldn't get to work for a long time. I couldn't pick up my girl for a few weeks. Like, that shit hurts. And then to see people joking about it and throwing it in my face in different chats, like, bro, I'm trying here. I'm trying to get a new car. I'm trying to move up in the world, man. How can you
Yeah.
kick somebody down like that? And like, I'm not saying I'm a pussy and I can't take it, but like, it makes me think like, yo, why are people so mean like that on YouTube? Like,
Yeah.
and it's always ugly people who are mean to people,
Yeah.
or kids, not kids, but like younger mentally people who are mean to each other. Like, damn, man, like
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it here. You trying to kick me down mentally when I'm down? Tony does that a lot. He mentions my car every chance he gets, man.
Yeah.
Tony, don't like you have more problems than me, and you're mentioning like a car. You have, I don't want to say mean things about Tony, but it hurts when people use personal downfalls against you.
Tony has
Or
issues.
the girl
I
you
heard
were with
Tony.
is now
He,
getting fucked by someone else. Like, don't say that, bro. You're gonna make me think about that when I'm in the shower, bro. Like, that's just mean.
You know.
I
Uh,
heard Tony giving you advice on how to fix your car.
Yeah, that one time when my car wouldn't start, I should have never called Tony for that. You know why? Because the next few weeks he used that against me. One thing I've learned about the internet and YouTube: never ever mention your downfalls or being down because no one cares. No one cares. You know what the I saw a lot on Twitter. People would say, "No one cares. Work harder. No one cares. Work harder." Nobody
yeah.
cares about people being down. Like when people see hobos, a lot of people just keep walking because nobody cares about your downfalls.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Nobody
true there.
cares. Just work
Unfortunately there.
harder. Everyone's going through shit. So I learned to never ever mention work, my relationships, my this or that. I thought vlogging was cool because it could be a place where you mention your personal life and people could be there for you and be nice to each other. But no, people will use that against you.
Correct.
True there. Very true.
You too, Keith. Don't talk too much about your history with people because people will use it against you.
They do.
Yeah,
And they love doing that.
I know. You're right.
Yeah.
I stopped doing that. I think it was thanks to Jacob RP that I stopped doing that. Like the last show, I don't know, like 5 months ago, or I forgot when. Like RP was like, don't tell
Especially, I
your
will say
story
this
again.
too: Extreme Shaft in the chat on multiple occasions told me that I'm a burden on my mother. Like that's mean to say to
That's
someone, bro.
wrong.
You don't know
That's
what people are going. You
that's
don't know what people
wrong.
are going through. Extreme Shaft. Why would you tell me that I'm a burden on my mother, which is not true? And that's the worst part for you to even say that when it's not true. Like me and my family are trying here. I'm trying here to like so we can live a happy life and for you to sit there and judge me and say I'm a burden on my mother. Why? Because I live with my family. I don't live with my mother, first of all. But for you to say I'm a burden on my mother on multiple occasions, that's fucked up.
You know.
Let's judge you and your past and your life. Don't
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
be
Take a
mean to
look at
each other on
yourself.
YouTube anymore, bro. That's just
Take a look in the mirror before you
you
take a
guys
look at
don't know.
others. Dude, I gotta
You
tell
guys
you
don't know.
this.
Like
Well,
that's
here we're gonna
and a
move to
lot of
Doctor.
people.
We're gonna move to Doctor Brown's channel.
Okay, we're still
Why?
right there. And by the way, I've been judged a lot of times and many times in my past. You know, like when I first people in this community were presuming I was a meth head, including Pro V. He called in on Monetize This, asking me, what kind of meth do you smoke, dude? And like he said it a few times until I had to put him on the spot in one time when I kept talking about his wife. We was in a Skype
To-
chat. I did that because he kept accusing me of being a meth head. So I went after his girlfriend before she became his wife, like other people had did, and he was like, "Well, why are you talking shit about my wife?" Because you kept saying I was a drug addict, remember? So I showed him a picture of my father, who has the exact same facial structure like I do, and he realized, "Oh shit, I made a mistake," and we made amends right there. But being judged it's not fun. It's not fun being judged. I'll tell you that there. So I see where Jacob is coming from there.
yeah. And I'm not saying like, bro. Wait. First of all, why are we going to Dr. Brown's channel?
Because I'm live right now as well.
Yeah, but no offense, Dr. Brown. No offense. Like I like you, dude, but you have like two people who view your
I know, I know. I'm trying. That's why I've been trying to bring up my channel up there. But I did say this to Minnesota Vikings fan when he had the same issue. You may get one or two viewers on the when you stream live, but the viewership will come after you stream live. Like I could do a dark techno set, and I would get about over 100 views afterwards through time.
Yeah.
And plus those techno sets and soundscape sets I do when I don't get no viewers, I do those primarily for me, believe it or not. There and
And
plus
Dr. Brown, I'm very sorry that people have said that you look like a meth head. That's mean. I'm
I
very
know,
sorry that you had
yeah,
to hear
well,
that.
yep, yeah, I know, I heard about that. Remember, and by the
It's
way,
one thing. It's one thing to make fun of someone's voice or how they talk
I
or
know.
like the way you dress. That's one thing. But to say you're a meth head, that's fucked up.
I know, because I don't even smoke cigarettes. This is one of the things that angered me throughout the years. You know, I was in this place in Marysville, Michigan, when I was still living there, around 1992, in October of that year. An all-female band called Damsel was playing this place there called. I won't give out the name because I don't want to bring attention to that dump ass joint. But after the band was done playing, I'm gonna figure out what to do next. Should I go home? Should I go by the nearby mire or blah blah blah? And these guys approached me saying, "We don't like the way you look. Step outside." And they started accusing me of being a drug dealer because I had a leather jacket on, biker boots, a leather hat on. They presumed that I was some sort of a dealer or troublemaker or shit like that.
Well, listen, Dr. Brown, in everyone's defense, you do kind of dress like
Like the dark side, the dark side.
you walk around with a trench coat and gloves and shades and
Well, I
no
usually do that for
offense,
fun,
but
but not all the time. I don't really go out to. That's usually club gear when I go out to either a concert or a club. Whenever I'm
yeah.
grocery shopping, I just wear regular clothes, and I'm certainly not going to dress like that when I'm on the job there.
Oh, Dr. Brown. Well, this was fun, you guys, but I'm gonna go eat. I'm hungry. I had a long day at work. Keith, I'm very sorry for sometimes saying that I won't be on the call with you or something. It's not. It's not to be mean. It's just your whole like not blinking thing kind of freaks me out. So it kind of just creeps me out. But since YR sees you as a friend, I'm gonna see you as a good associate too. Dr. Brown,
Yep,
I respect you. You're funny. I like being on shows with you.
I like being on
Keith,
shows
you
with you,
have your
man.
moments when you're funny too, Keith. I like being on shows with you
All right.
sometimes.
Thank
I'm
you.
just, I'm crazy. Sometimes, I come home with fucking attitude, so I say shit, but you guys are awesome.
All
YR,
right.
thank you for everything.
Right.
Dr. Brown, thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, awesome.
Um,
Thanks for coming
and you
on,
guys have a
man. We're
good
glad to
night.
have you here.
You guys have a good night, man. Thank you.
You too.
Okay.
Have a good one. All right, Jacob RP, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so I guess all this means a YR stopped streaming, I guess, on his channel, I
Yes.
guess. All right there. So I guess it's you and I now. Wow. And YR
Yep.
left. Well, I
Yeah.
guess we can probably chit chat for a couple of minutes here because I'll probably end this stream here and probably you know work on some other stuff there. I was planning on doing a dark techno stream probably tonight there, but I'll probably save it for tomorrow night. Have you heard any of my dark techno streams as of late? Or any of my sets?
No, no, I heard one a long, long time ago,
Which one?
and that was it. I
Which
don't.
one
It
was it?
was. I don't know.
Hmm.
Probably. I think Wire. I think Wire was on his PS4 streams.
Hmm. Was I when I was doing the techno stream?
Yes.
Because I didn't start officially doing any of them until 2020 there, or 2021 there. That's when I
Yeah.
started
So
putting doing the lots of them.
it was 2021.
Yeah. Okay, there. That's when it started doing the whole bunch of shit of those music sets, whether it's dark soundscape, dark techno, or the dark dub sets. Which I should probably do sometime soon there. And one thing
Yeah.
I will say, I gotta probably after the next few I do, I'm gonna lay off for a while there because I've been doing too much of them as of late. Start doing something else. I want to possibly do me a review video there, which I review something not of Tony, not of Scott, but of something else, like a TikTok video or saw another, like an episode of Cheaters. I've been a fan of that show as of late. I know people are questioning that, but then again, I've always wanted to know the concept of why going behind other people's backs, to get laid and such there. But
Right.
I want to do a lot of other stuff on my channel, a lot more commentary. So let's talk about this if you got the
Okay.
chance. WWE being sold. You think who you think is going to buy it?
I have no idea. Who are the choices?
Well, there was expressed that possibly it was originally expressed that the investment firm in Saudi Arabia was interested in purchasing WWE. Vince apparently sold that company to that fund there, but that turned out to be just hearsay, believe it or not. I know Ken did a live stream with Tommy, and I of course called in with my opinions on the whole situation there. And I don't know if it's still up, it probably still is, but then there's talk that possibly maybe Tony Khan, who runs the AEW, Ring of Honor, and what's that, the Jaguars, I guess it was. Now, he may be purchasing the WWE with his daddy there. And if that's so, that would make Mr. Khan one of the big wigs in the pro wrestling spectrum there, let alone combat sports. And there was also mentioning that Fox may be purchasing the WWE. So, what do you think, if this sale goes through to whoever owns it?
I think Tony Khan's gonna buy it.
Oh, really? So it was kind of like, if it does, it'll be like the same thing when WWF, as was known at the time, purchasing WCW back in 2001. That
Yep.
was a big, that was a big shocker when I remember reading in the morning paper that that had happened. So, but it's going to be vice versa. And so,
Yeah.
do you think Triple H will still have his job as head of creative if this falls through?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because Triple H has put his heart and soul into that company. I mean, like
Yeah.
into back into wrestling all together. People say he lives, breathes, eats, sleeps wrestling. Plain and simple there. I mean, he
Right.
said in many interviews that he felt like he was born to do this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why do you think him taking over this WWE didn't make it better?
I don't know. I've yet to see any real difference because I think right now is they're still in that PG PG era stuff there where they got to tone things down. I know. I understand. I've been hearing that they'll probably make the company private again, which means they'll probably go back to some risky material. But I also need to say this. All the people bitching and complaining about, missing the Attitude Era, wish they bring back the Attitude Era. It's like, there was wrestling back then was a lot more top notch than it is now. Then I think, I think those kids complaining about that were possibly little teeny boppers during the Attitude Era, along with the new metal scene like Disturbed, Limp Bizkit were out on their prime there. They really did not know about the golden era with Tito Santana, Junkyard Dog, Brutus the Beefcake, Rowdy Roddy Piper. That's when I first started watching the WWF, you know. And of course, they had the New Generation era, the Attitude era, and of course, you had later the Ruthless Aggression era, and now the PG era. And I think I'm just hoping that maybe whoever owns the WWE in the future will sit down with everybody on there, including the writers, say, hey, come up with some better storylines that make a lot more sense. It doesn't have to be explicit. It doesn't have to be vulgar. It doesn't have to be tons of profanity out there. I mean, because we still have kids watching there. But let's make it a lot more dramatic. Let's make it more interesting. Let's have storylines that will draw you in, and also no bra and panties matches. I mean, like, I'm saying you could go to a titty bar and see that shit go down there.
Right.
Yeah, because it's just
Are they bringing that? Are they bringing that back, or did they bring that
I
back?
hope not, because that shit was cheesy, cheesy, cheesy. I mean, like when you think
Oh
about it,
man.
I guess Russo and Ferreira, being Ed Ferreira, Russo's co-writer there, they were trying to bring a little bit of the Jerry Springer show into pro wrestling. That's what the people were into at that time, and that was the thing that day. Now that was the thing back then. But to bring in the bras and panties matches nowadays, they would upset all these SJWs that are out there on the internet.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, they would. You gotta. I mean, like, if they're gonna complain about, Tessa Blanchard reportedly saying the N word to an opponent during the match in Japan, you're gonna possibly imagine now how they'll go after whoever comes up with this bra and panties match.
Yep.
In fact, if any of these SJWs ever saw many of the stuff from the Attitude Era, let alone All in the Family, when that show was still on the air, they would throw one of the biggest massive fits ever. And I mean that sincerely.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, because TV back then took a lot more risk with their storylines, unlike some of the TV shows today. Now, no earlier on, why are expressing, and me dogging Creed the way I did, and Wire is right. They do have a lot of good intentions with the music. It would bring a lot of spirituality. The, I'm that's my disgruntlement. That's a disgruntled Earl coming out there because I'm in a lot of ways disgruntled with a lot of things that are out there. The scene changing, and not being the way it used to be. Like you know, I don't accept change that well. You know, the only really main change that I welcomed was the move from Michigan to Texas, and for various reasons I stated in the past. But it's just really when it comes to certain changes, I just got like, oh God, please no. But
Yep.
respect to YR, I'm glad we were able to get out and see Judas Priest together. We had a great time that whole day there. I know it's in living in YR's mind. I was glad to hang out with the dude there.
Right.
All right,
Yes.
there. All right.